You are now experiencing NBTLT, where genius and manliness take their true form. Initiate panty dropping in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, Zumi.
Hey, Lonnie.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I am awesome. I got to have a wonderful date night with the beautiful wifey tonight. So,
Dude, you went out on a date with your wife?
yeah.
That is so gay.
It might be, but you know what? It really does make a difference when you get to hang out with adults instead of kids, and I'm sure she can attest to that.
Yeah, my wife and I are due for a date.
When's the last time that you guys actually went out?
I think it was... Shit, it must have been like January, dude. It's been a while.
Dude, that's almost a year ago.
I know.
Well,
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, where we're just completely alone, like a date night, like completely alone, no kids, like no family members, just the
just
two.
you two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really been a while, and it's hard to find a freaking babysitter here, you know?
Try having 4 kids and trying to find a babysitter. I mean, tonight we had my mother-in-law. She's wonderful for that kind of stuff, but she comes over here instead of us taking all the kids over to her house, you know, because they got their own stuff, and 4 kids usually ruin things, you know, so
Right.
it's a lot easier for her to come out here to our place, and, you know, that way she can put them to bed whenever she wants, and makes it a lot simpler. We stopped doing the taking them over to Nana and Papa's a long time ago because it's just way too stressful, you know? And then you got to put them back in the car, and then you got to put
Yeah.
them back to bed, you know?
Then
It's
you always have the one that doesn't want to leave.
exactly, you know, it's no fun. So we do the babysitting here, you know? So, did you vote?
um, I will say this about voting. It's a right, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
And because you are a previous, or I would say a military veteran, it's not like anybody can give you shit for not voting.
Exactly.
Give you that bullshit line that people fought, you know, people are fighting for you to have that right, even though there's actually nobody fighting for that right currently. You know, I mean physical fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just one of those things where like I got sick and tired of two things. One, I got sick and tired of people telling me that that like that I have to vote.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it's not your duty to vote; it's your right to vote. So the thing with the right is you can choose to, um, you know, do it or not.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's I used to buy into the argument that if you didn't vote, you don't have a right to, you know, bitch about how the conditions are. I used to buy into that.
On the contrary,
You know,
because you
I don't believe in that
because you didn't
anymore.
vote, because I didn't vote, I have the right to complain about who you put in office.
Yeah, I have a right to complain about what you did, you know.
Yeah, because well, think about it. I mean, I mean, I can argue the other side, right?
Of
Is
course.
is that if you honestly didn't like neither of the candidates, like neither of them, then why didn't you vote for the third party one?
Well, I
Yeah,
think that's what my dad was about to do, but he decided to just not vote, you know,
yeah,
because he didn't even like the third guy. So,
but this is how people get, like I guess this is how some people make their choices. Is they say like, okay, I don't like candidate A, but I don't like him or her less than or more than candidate B, right?
you know,
So instead of saying them saying like, all right, let me consider candidate C or not voting, they'll be like, oh, well, what are my friends? What are my friends doing?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of sad where we've
So
come as a democracy with that whole thing. You know, it's I
so a
still
lot.
think that more people should vote, though.
Right. I mean, and I agree, but here's the thing: if that candidate doesn't match like at least a good 60% of your beliefs, and then you if you just vote for voting, then it's the same thing as uh just giving away your vote. I don't know, like
Yeah,
some people are like, oh, you're wasting your vote, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm reserving my vote, which is different. You're wasting your vote if you're just voting to vote.
I saw an interesting comic on that. It's the same type of argument. There was this guy. He holds up a baby, and it says, should we feed the baby or should we throw it in the garbage can?" Or something like that, you know. And the other guy's like, "Well, here, like he just ate, so neither." And he's like, "Why are you wasting your vote?" And it's like, well, I don't like either option, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, one if you didn't like any of the candidates and you don't vote, and if the whole, I mean, perfect world speaking here. Let's say nobody liked Trump, nobody liked Hillary, nobody votes. I mean, are they going to decide who's going to be president based on like, just whoever is running the campaign voting? I don't think so.
No, I have a question for you. Do you think the majority of people would vote differently or the same if they were wasted when they cast their vote? Like completely hammered drunk?
Probably the same, and because alcohol just makes you even more stupid. So,
It solidifies your idiocy.
yeah, so if you're already a moron, you're gonna be twice a moron.
I don't know, man. I do some things better when I'm drunk than I do when I'm sober.
Like what?
Well, thinking's not one of them, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Having
exactly.
having rational thought is definitely not one of them. So, just asking, you know. I figure, like you have the emotional drunks. You know, they might look at Donald Trump that night and go, "You know what? He's not such a bad guy." You know? Or they'll look at Hillary and be like, maybe she's not the Antichrist. You
Yeah,
know? So,
yeah, I don't know, but you know what? I'm sick and tired of these fucking liberals going around starting riots, beating up people and stuff, and then they say like, oh, yeah, we're gonna protest.
well, their argument is that when Obama was first elected, not his second term, but his first term, when he was elected, there was a lot of people on the right that were protesting it with picket signs and stuff like that, and some of the things that they were saying on these signs were pretty racist. You know, it's going to happen. You're going to have
Yep.
those people. However, despite that, I don't ever remember seeing protests that turned into riots that turned into beating the ever living shit out of a supporter of the opposite party.
Yeah. Well, and that's I mean, they're just coming off as like fucking sore losers. It's just like, dude, and like, yeah, and I know this is gonna sound weird to some people that, I'm half Mexican and and not. I mean, I won't consider myself a Trump supporter, but I really don't mind a guy. Uh, and it does piss me off when all my like Mexican friends like I don't even get into the political discussion because I know they're gonna be like, "How can you support a racist? How can you support a racist?"
I still
Like,
don't understand where that logic came from.
yeah, and I'm like I always tell him like, well, that's the worst thing that he's being accused of. Like, how can you have a president that kills people and
Well,
sits up here?
I don't know if
Like,
that's the worst thing he's been accused of.
well, no, there's just been worse stuff, but like, where's like where the fuck is the logic?
Yeah. Well, there really is none when it comes to situations like this, but I find the whole thing fascinating, and I think I've told you before is that this election cycle has revealed so much about who we are, individually, and it's just
It
amazing to see the separation and the
it
divide that
has.
we have.
And like I'm like tired of opening up Facebook,
Ugh,
and like all I see is stuff like and I don't know if it's necessarily liberals doing, but they're like analyzing why Trump was going to win, as
ugh.
if they predicted this, and and it's just like, okay, if you so-called predictions were right, then why the fuck didn't you do anything?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's all that hindsight 2020 bullshit. It's like
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about it. It's over. We did it. I mean, most of it was done legally. I mean, there's
yeah.
stories about the things that Hillary might have done. Like the getting illegals to vote. I don't know if the illegals actually happened, but I do know that there was some talks about like federal, or I'm sorry, felons actually being brought in to vote in like Virginia or something. But
Yeah.
it's like, who cares? It's over.
Right, and now everybody's like saying like, well, if we just go based on the popular vote, then Hillary would have been president. Like, why doesn't America turn that way?
But they
And
didn't
it's like,
say anything when Mitt Romney won the popular vote against Obama.
exactly. And my only thing is like, dude, it's like if you do that shit, then all minorities will decide the presidents for the rest of our lives.
Oh yeah,
It's like
but they don't feel that's a bad thing. That's
exactly the system is a little bit complicated, but it works. Like if you see how the elections work in Mexico, dude, like you would much rather have the system that the U.S. has.
What about Korea? They have interesting elections.
I know, right?
Oh my God, they're straight up beating the shit out of each other. Like I'm not talking about the people, the candidates.
Yeah, the candidates are like they should have like a freaking battle royale between the candidates.
Well, what do you think about having both presidential candidates have like they have the debates now. Let's say they have the third debate isn't really a debate. It's just the moderator will hook up both candidates to a polygraph machine, and then they take questions from the people. Pre-approved, of course, not like personal questions, just like honest questions.
Well, see, this is where I really I hate debates because they're never you don't ever hear them talking about the issues, right? It's
Never.
all about their past. Like I don't give a shit about your past. I really don't. Unless it has anything to do with national security.
Well, but
But
that's, I mean,
if you, I mean, dude, if we decided to be politicians, we could never win just because they would have said like, oh, Zumi and Lonnie drank illegally when they were in the military. Like, who fucking happened, right? And it was like, who fucking hasn't? But there's gonna be a certain group of people that are gonna be like, oh, I can't trust somebody that's being that dishonest. Somebody who drank before they were supposed to be drinking, alcohol
yeah, but
cannot be trusted.
it's the I hate that mentality because it's like the holier than thou mentality where they
Exactly, and
won't
that's
talk
the
about
thing.
their favorite candidate in that way. And both sides do this, not just the Hillary supporters and not just it's the Trump supporters too. They act like their candidate is perfect when
Yeah,
they're not. It's not.
they act as if they're not fucking human beings, and that's something that that I mean, I hate to say it, but that's something that appeals to me from Trump. That he's actually talking to you like a human being.
well,
Yeah,
I
he's telling you shit is fucked up. He's not denying that he talked bad about women, but like who doesn't?
well, he's probably the first candidate since Reagan that's told the people what, not necessarily what they wanted to hear, but they address the issues from the beginning of what was happening in this country. And right or wrong, all he was doing from the beginning was saying, this is what's going on. And he's not even saying anything about it. He's just saying, this is what's happening. I'm going to change it. So automatically, from doing that, you gain 50% of the vote.
Yeah.
Because
but I mean, who the fuck are we getting? We know that by the end of his term, we're all gonna be like, yeah, Trump didn't do shit.
Well, we don't know that yet.
The same way that it's been for everybody. Like, they didn't do shit.
Yeah, but, I think maybe because we're not politicians and we don't know what the hell we're talking about. I look at it from an outsider's view, and as a registered voter, I hate the whole situation anyway, but I sure as shit was not going to vote for somebody who I knew was a criminal. And anybody listening to this can hate on me for that. That's fine. But it's just, I really don't care. Write in your emails, write in your anger. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, she was a felon. And a treasonous felon. We've talked about this before. What would happen to you or I if we were in the military and we did those things?
Yeah, I know. Like, we'd be in jail. And not just in jail, but military jail.
Federal pound me in the ass prison, as they say on Office Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would not be, it wouldn't have been a pretty sight.
No, in those prisons, there's not some big guy named Bubba. There's some big guy named Sarge, By the way, this is off topic, but I think we've gone about 10, 15 minutes talking about the election, but
it's definitely not a political podcast.
I had the what do you call them? Not, I guess it's diarrhea. I made the mistake of drinking 2 energy drinks in a very short period of time.
I thought you were gonna say you made the mistake of testing whether it was gonna be a fart.
No, because I work alone out where I'm at, so it doesn't really bother me. I just go to the bathroom. But how come when you have that type of bowel movement, how come wet shits feel great and feel awful at the same time? Like, it feels good to expel it, but it's just this terrible wrenching in your stomach. Dude, someone explain this to me.
You're fucking disgusting.
I see you're taking that off of the set list now.
I'm just marking that we're on topic,
So, what's been going on in your life, Zumi?
Well, I started working.
Well, I think you told me that last week, yeah.
No, I didn't tell you that last week.
Oh, did you mean you got the full time?
Oh, no. No, no, never mind. I did tell you that I started working.
Yeah, that's how we started last week, I think. Yeah.
You're right. Yes, you're right. I forgot.
It's because I love you that I remember these things.
And if I was a chick, that would have been an amazing point.
Yep,
but
panties would drop.
Yeah, I know. I would have been like, take me. No, I applied for it. I interviewed, and hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully I'll get the job, and yeah, it'll be a great change in our lives.
Yeah, well, I think you'll get it because you have what I like to call hireable face.
Hireable face.
Yeah, it's very non-threatening. It's teachable. Yeah. but still just enough masculinity to work.
You don't look like the type of guy that's gonna show up at work with an AK-47.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, hireable face.
That's messed up, dude.
A non-hireable face, I would say. One of them would be, oh, geez, how do I do this without offending? You know what? Fuck all of you. A non-hireable face would be, like pocked face, full of zits, neck beard, and wears a fedora.
A fedora.
That's non-hireable face.
Oh man,
It
gotta
screams
say, though,
trench coat mafia.
I gotta say though, it's been a while since I've been on the other side of the chair. Like, um, it was weird.
It was odd.
I think the last interview I went to, where I actually had to like sit down and stuff and talk was when I interviewed for the reserves.
Yeah, well, mine was, of course, for the job that I'm at now. Actually, no, I did a promotional interview since I've been here, but I'm not gonna go into how I feel about their hiring process at the job that I'm at. But I don't know. It just seems like interviews have gone down in quality. If you know what I mean. I mean, to me, it seems easier to interview.
Well, I mean, I don't know if easier. It's just maybe the questions are structured differently because like I said, when I went through the one in the military, it was like, they had their set questions.
Yeah.
But every other job that I got afterwards, like after I left, they weren't really interviews. They were more like, formality. Like they've already decided based on what they read on my resume or the email that I responded or whatever.
Oh yeah, those are those types of interviews that they kind of go like, instead of an interview, it's like them kind of showing you around without showing you around.
Exactly. That's how my last interviews have been. So this is the actual first one where I actually have to sit in front of people and answer their questions and it just felt weird. I mean, it was exciting, but it felt weird at the same time. Like,
did you use NLP on them to like turn it around?
I used NLP concept. I didn't use NLP on them.
Oh, that's too bad. That would have been a great story.
I know, right? And then they started listening to this podcast, and they're gonna be like, "That motherfucker!"
Like he duped me.
No. No, I when I use NLP, like I usually I do it for myself. I don't do it for other people, unless I really like want something from them. But that's rarely the case. I consider it an invasion of privacy.
Oh sure.
Or kind of like non-ethical. I'll ask you if I can do NLP on it.
No,
I don't believe, because I think that's what made NLP get a bad reputation, is that people were selling it as like, oh, get your way with anybody, sell them anything.
Oh yeah, big seller for the car salesman out there.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like, and that's why a lot of therapists, like, if you tell them you do NLP, they're always like putting a red flag on you, like, that's extremely manipulative and stuff.
You're like, I'm not a fucking warlock or anything,
Right, and so I use the concept on me. So unless you ask me, then I won't do anything.
Yeah. If you what was I going to ask? I'll let you continue if you had something else to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Well, I was going to ask.
We went off topic though. Like we were talking about shits.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I thought that as the the co-director producer of this show, that you would cancel that out and say, no, Lonnie, we're not talking about that shit.
No, we're not going to talk about a certain type of shit. And I mean, you say that they feel horrible, but they feel great at the same time.
Okay, let me explain this. Even though it shouldn't need explaining, because I'm sure people out there understand what I'm talking about, at least to a certain extent. It feels good to shit when you have diarrhea, to get rid of it, right? Like to finally get relief. Like when you have to pee really bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also have this like total gut-wrenching experience because your colon is like upside down in pain.
Oh my God.
Why does it have to be such a bittersweet moment?
I don't know. I think it's a way of your body saying like, "Hey, hey, dude, like, feel good for making it to the toilet," and
But
then it goes, and
but
now
you're still a
feel,
dumbass, you know.
yeah, and then now feel this, so you don't ever do it again.
uh, have you watched any of Westworld yet, by the way? Because that reminds me of that.
Westworld, no, no, no,
Dude,
I have
you got to
not.
get into it. I won't explain any of it, but you got to
Have
get
you
into it.
seen The Night of?
No, no, you keep asking me. Here, I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it down. The night of. Now, are we talking about the night as in evening, or a night as in the White Knight who saved the princess from the lock tower?
Night without a K.
So evening.
Yes, and it's
I
a
thought I
really
made my options pretty clear, but apparently you don't want to go down that road.
no. Which that movie uh reminds me of not it's not a movie. That series reminds me of movies that of one particular movie that traumatized me. So,
Oh, and this is what you're making me watch?
well, no, because the show has nothing to do with the movie that traumatized me. Does that make sense? But it reminded me of
Okay,
it.
that's fine.
It's well because it's in a prison setting.
Oh, great.
This guy gets accused of murder, so it's about him going through the trial and stuff, and how the due process works.
Okay, all right.
So anyways, but it's a good show. But there was this one movie. I don't know if do you remember? Do you remember Dawn the Dragon?
Uh, what? Dawn's
Dawn the Dragon.
Dawn the dragon?
Yeah.
You mean like dawn it, like put it on,
No. Like
or like
Dawn the Dragon. His name is Dawn the Dragon Wilson. So his name is Don Wilson, but
okay?
his nickname was the Dragon.
Oh, okay. I get what you
So
mean.
they call him Don the Dragon.
No, I've never
No,
heard of
so
this.
so so when I was growing up, we used to watch a lot, a lot of what we call just karate movies. We didn't call them kung fu films or like or martial arts films. We call them karate movies. That was our thing as kids.
Yeah.
And Dawn the Dragon was one of the uh, uh, actors, I guess, that we used to watch a lot because he had a lot of movies of uh, of martial arts, of karate.
Sure. Naturally.
So I don't know. Do you remember China O'Brien by any chance?
Yes, I
Sure.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so it's movies along that caliber.
Okay.
So shitty fucking movies.
That's not shitty. It's just, it's art.
So anyway, so Dawn the Dragon has this one film where I really don't remember the plot. I just know that he goes to prison.
Okay.
All right. So on the first fucking scenes, like first 5 minutes of the scene, he's mopping the floor, right? Like minding his own business. And you see Dawn the Dragon, so you're like, oh, this movie's gonna be about karate, right? That's like our first impression. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happens. The next scene that I remember is these guys are just like going after this one dude, and they just start gang raping this guy.
Oh my
Dude.
god.
I mean, they just start raping the shit out of him. And granted, I've never seen a guy being raped or a scene implying that a guy was being raped.
So obviously you hadn't seen Shawshank Redemption yet.
By that time, no. At that time in my life, no. And I mean, I don't remember how old I was, but all I remember, I remember looking at my brother. They're just like, "What the fuck is that? What the fuck are they doing?" And the next scene is, Don the Dragon comes in and he takes his fucking shirt off like he's gonna like beat the living shit out of people, and they kill this guy. So they just rape him, they gang rape him, and then they kill him, and then Don the Dragon beats the living shit out of him, and that's all I remember. I don't remember if he kills him or not, but
So there's no context to this nightmare.
right. But I do remember the scene, and then the guy's like saying he's like yelling like no 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 no, and then all of a sudden you see the guy like doing the pelvic thrust,
Oh, God.
and the guy's just like ah. It's just like our eyes are wide open. I'm just like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Well, see,
But it's curious that I'm 31 years old and I don't remember the movie. I don't remember the plot, but I do remember that one fucking scene, dude.
oh yeah, it's imprinted. Is that why you're fucked in the head now?
Maybe, I don't know, dude. It could be.
No, I think the movie that traumatized me, but it was because I was really young when I saw it first, was The Exorcist. Now,
Oh,
I mean, you see it later on, it's not that bad. It's still creepy.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the time, especially when it first came out, that was, I mean, you've seen the stories of when that movie first came out. I mean, they were getting sued, and people were passing out in the theater and throwing up and stuff, and just
people were burning like the films when they were kind of like the cassette tapes.
Yeah, because they just didn't want it shown.
Yeah,
it was for that time. I mean, but I saw it when I was like, God, like really young.
Right?
Huh?
It was banned in certain countries too.
I'm sure it was. I don't know if it was, but it had to have been. It was most definitely banned in South Korea. But they ban everything, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, dude.
They ban happiness in South Korea. Or North Korea, excuse me.
Yeah,
not South.
I was gonna say, like, South Korea has some pretty good, intense films.
Yeah.
Oh boy, holy crap.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's probably a good thing I didn't see Old Boy when I was young. I think I'd much rather take the Dawn the Dragon movie than.
Yeah, I mean, that movie, that's probably one of those movies that if you see as a young boy, it's probably not going to be good for you.
Yeah, and back in the day, like, I don't know if this happened with you, but there was no fucking restrictions. Like, I think I remember watching my first porn when I was like 8.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I probably saw the first magazine when I was around that age.
I mean, in retrospect, like, dude, that's way too much, like, stimulant for a kid,
Yeah. Wow.
But
up.
It was just like one of those things. Like my parents weren't if they weren't around, it was just my mom, and my mom was like, kind of like didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but she still loves you, Zumi.
I know. I mean, and I love her, but her parenting skills weren't necessarily the best. They were like, as long as you're not crying, like, you're fine. You could be playing with knives and shit, and she wouldn't even know.
Did your mom?
Unless you cut yourself, then you're like in big trouble. First you get a spanking for cutting yourself, and then for whatever else she might think of.
Zumi, I'm going to ask you a question. I sent you a thing a while back on like Mexican parents, or what it's like to grow up as a child as a Mexican. And I want you to tell me how true is some of that stuff, like the chancala.
Oh, la chancla?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Do they do that shit often?
yeah.
Like pull off their sandal and beat the shit out of you?
It's so funny because my wife does it with my kids. I mean, granted, her sandals, like, it's kind of like a beach sandal, so they really don't hurt. But as soon as she pulls it out, like, the kids they just start running. It's freaking hilarious. So I do believe that a woman with a sandal, or a chancla, fucking deadly.
Oh yeah, and you fear the chancla.
Dude, they throw it, and I don't know how it is, but
like a ninja.
It lands on your freaking head like every single time. It doesn't fail.
I think they all go to a class, They learn how to be a mother,
See, But this is it reminded me of something like I remember I was being like really really just an asshole with my mom, and she threw the fucking chancla once and she missed. She threw the other one and and I pulled my karate skills and she missed, and then she's like, bring them back.
You're like, no.
No. And she's like, if you don't bring him back, I'm gonna hit you. So I'm like, then no, then I'm not gonna bring him back.
I'm damned if I do, darned if I don't. There's no way I'm doing that.
But you eventually have to like give him back because you knew it was gonna progress from the chancla to the belt. You didn't want the belt.
You mean to death?
Yeah.
Your mom was gonna turn into like a what do you call him? Oh, not a matador. I'm totally off here, but God, what are the wrestlers?
Oh,
Luchador. Now, okay, then the other thing is, I wanted to ask you, have you ever eaten a hot dog wrapped in a tortilla?
I have not, and that sounds pretty fucking disgusting.
I'm just asking. Yeah.
Although I did but my dad has done some weird stuff like that, or like
But your dad's not Mexican, so I don't know if that counts.
I know but he's highly influenced by the Mexican culture.
How long has your dad been down there?
Shit, dude. I think my oldest brother is 35, 36 now.
Since then?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a long time.
Years. Yeah, they've.
So what did he do? I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just wanted to ask that.
What did my mom do?
No, your dad.
Like when he met my mom, or like right now?
Oh, I mean, what does he do? You were saying that he does some weird stuff, like the hot. Like...
Oh, so he would just like look in the fridge and look in, see if there's any like leftover. Like he's the kind of guy who will like put a freaking tamale in a tortilla and have a tamale burrito. I guess.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. And we just look at him like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm hungry.
A tamale in a tortilla.
Yes. If you can picture that.
A tormale?
A tormale.
That sounds like something you get at Taco Bell. It's like when you go to Panda Express and they try to pawn it off as Chinese food.
Hey, don't you be saying like anything bad about the Panda, all right? I had Panda on Friday and that was delicious. That shit's amazing.
I don't know.
They can throw all the MSG they want in there. That shit tastes yummy to me. My kids love it. My wife loves it. Like, don't ruin Panda Express for me, please.
Well, since we were talking about movies, I was going to tell you about one that I just recently watched this last week.
Did it traumatize you?
No. It was actually a really good movie. It was called Hell or High Water. Have you seen the trailers for that?
I have not.
I think it's a lesser known movie. It's got Jeff Bridges and I think Chris Pine, the guy from the new Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
It's him, and then I forget the other guy's name. He's a little less known. But it's called Hell or High Water, and it's about these two brothers that rob banks together to support the younger brother, who is Chris Pine, support his two boys and his ex-wife. And they pretty much know that they're going to go to jail. But they're doing, like, his older brother is helping him because his older brother has done it before and went to jail for it. But because they're brothers and they love each other, he employs him to help him for the next few days, rob a bunch of banks, and give the money to his boys and his ex-wife. And Jeff Bridges is the Texas Ranger who's on their tail. And it's kind of a slow movie, like Open Range. It's kind of like that type of feel, where it's like real slow, real descriptive, but not a lot of action. But I mean, that was a really good movie. And I just thought that you would enjoy it. You know, like, if anybody out there hasn't seen it, I suggest you see it. It's a good movie, but it is slow.
So why didn't you just get a job like normal people?
Well, I think it was something like he owed like a shit ton of money on the mortgage. Um, and he hadn't been there for his boys before. And he kind of screwed up the first part of their life and wanted to make it all right. And
So he's gonna screw the second part of his life, but with money.
pretty much. But you'd have to watch it. I mean, it is a really good movie. Jeff Bridges.
I'll watch it. I just find it humorous.
I will say that Jeff Bridges, when he's not doing a normal voice, like his normal voice in a movie, his other voice for any movie is always the same. So this, like in this movie, it's the same, just with a little like Texas accent. That's
so
it.
Does he sound like
The Seventh
is that-
Son.
No, I was gonna. Is that the John Wayne remake?
No, The Seventh Son was the fantasy one. And then you probably haven't seen that one. It was kind of a terrible movie.
No, I haven't.
But oh yes, the John Wayne one. It's the same type of thing with that one. Yes.
I thought that
True
was
Grit.
really good.
True Grit.
Yeah, True Grit. I thought True Grit was really good.
It was a good movie, but it's the same thing. Like he uses that same type of voice. You know,
So you don't understand what the fuck he's talking about.
Sometimes. Yeah. You have to understand Texan to understand what Jeff Bridges is saying. But it was a good movie. I thought you'd like it.
You don't get it. I miss Texas.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't.
Dude, they had some fucking crazy ass thunder and lightning storms in Texas.
I know. That's what I miss about it. It was pretty insane. All of a sudden, it's like humid and hot, and the next thing you know, lightning within 5.
Yep.
And you go outside and it's freaking dark and
Well,
clouds.
Oklahoma was the same thing. Did you see that tornado that came out there? Were you there?
No,
It was right after I got there.
I was not there. Fortunately.
I thought they were shitting me. I thought they were joking. You know, like when I hear it on the weather radio that they put in every room. You know, like they said a tornado within 5 miles, and I went outside and looked, and there's the fucking funnel. It's like, holy shit. But yeah, I'm used to earthquakes, you know, being from SoCal.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, but
There's just something about a swirling vortex of cloud and and super high velocity speed winds. You know, God, those
It'd be
things
like-
are creepy.
it could be like Ron White. It's like it's not that the wind is blowing. It's
Yep.
what the wind is blowing.
Oh yeah, and I've seen the photos of like pieces of straw from like a hay bale being
Yeah.
shot through a brick wall because of how fast the wind is blowing.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
Damn. Yeah, I'm not a fan of tornadoes. Oklahoma was a silly place.
it was a fun place.
It was fun. It was fun just because of the other people made it fun. But there truly was nothing to do.
I will say something about Oklahoma that like when I've never when we were stationed there, well, I never went to OKC.
Yeah, I only went there a couple times, and I wasn't a big fan anyway. So
But when I was in the reserves and I went on a TDY, like I've never had so much fun than in OKC on like, you know, I didn't think it was going to be that fun. Like we went bar hopping, we ended up in a club that was, get this, out of all places, right?
you know,
Oklahoma City. It was Asian exclusive. So
you mean like they were being like discriminatory?
yeah, like if you weren't Asian, you don't fucking belong there unless you have a chaperone. So I acted as a chaperone to the guy that I that I went with.
That is the
And
weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I know it, out of all places, OKC, right? And I go in and it's all Asian people, and I'm just like, like, whoa, like this is fucking weird. I've never hung out like with more than like one Asian, at a time. So
Didn't you have like another similar experience? I'm not talking about the Canadian border. We'll get into that at another time. But um, which just as a little preface before we talk about it on the next episode or whatever, American border agents are huge dicks compared to Canadian border agents. That's all I'm gonna say. But didn't you and Alvin have like a similar experience going to like trying to get into a Russian Orthodox church here in Spokane? Or was that
yeah,
just Alvin?
no, that was just him. That was not me.
Like they told him he couldn't come in?
I don't know that. I've never heard this story before.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know about you of course know about the huge Russian presence in Spokane.
Yes, I do know about that, and I know they're buying a lot of real estate.
Yeah. And I didn't, what was the movie that had that? It was, I don't know if it was what Russian mafia. I think it was Italian mafia, and it was, um, oh goodness gracious me.
Eastern
Oh,
Promises.
Eastern Promises was a fucking awesome movie. But no, it's older than that. Oh God, Knockaround Guys with Vin Diesel. Do you remember that movie?
Knockaround guys?
Yeah,
No.
look it up. Look it up and just look at the pictures and stuff. I'm sure you've seen it with me. It wasn't a great movie, but it dealt with all that stuff. Like they were delivering drugs into Spokane from Canada. Seth Green, he's in it.
Barry Pepper,
Yeah,
Dennis
Barry
Hopper,
Pepper.
Vin Diesel, John Malkovich. He's in
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah,
Seth
John
Green.
Malkovich is and everything.
Knockaround guys.
I love Barry. I think he's a great actor.
No, I've never seen this.
You should,
Oh, I would have to take a look at it because it looks.
you should watch it. Vin Diesel beats the fuck out of somebody in that movie. It's a good movie. Do you remember that movie, hon? What? Knockaround Guys. That was a good movie. Good movie. But yeah, it dealt with all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't believe that there was this huge drug presence, like drug trafficking presence here in Spokane. But then, of course, you have to realize that the Canadian border is just like 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So apparently it's a big thing with the Russian mob up here. And I've heard that the police are pretty corrupt. And they're dealing with all that stuff. Just an interesting little side note. So what else is going on with you, Zoom?
Well, I'm actually looking up the title of that movie because now I'm gonna make you watch it.
Okay. Well, I'm writing down Knockaround Guys because I gotta watch it again.
I guess, but I guess Don the Dragon was a fucking badass, dude.
Like in real life?
Yeah, he's a world champion kickboxer he has 47 knockouts in 4 decades.
47
Yeah. European
knockouts.
martial arts Hall of Famer and action film actor.
Are any of them technical knockouts?
I'm looking up.
That's crazy because 47 knockouts is big for anybody. First of all, that's a lot of fights.
Oh, there's a couple of TKOs in there.
Okay. I was going to say 47.
Yeah, there's a couple of TKOs.
Well, you know who I found out was kind of a douche, but he still was a badass.
Mayweather?
No, Frank Dukes. you know Frank Dukes, the Bloodsport guy that Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Huge douchebag. Like loved himself. I don't know if he's still alive, but that's who the character is. You know, in Bloodsport. You know, he actually went to this thing called the Kumite, but there's actually no evidence that he actually was invited or entered the Kumite. You know, so
I think I found the movie. You know, I think he has a lot of like Van Damme and like Van Damme knockouts, like knockoff, like not knockouts, knockoff movies. Like you have Blood Sport, right? So his films are called Blood Fist.
Oh God.
So the one that I think I know this is the one, dude. It's called Blood Fist 3, Forced to Fight, and he doesn't have his shirt. He has the prison background, and he has shackles.
Oh my God.
Blood Fist 3, Forced to Fight, and but here he has Cyber Tracker 2,
So you
which
mean
is
is
another Van Damme movie, right?
Yeah, it's a direct correlation with Cyborg.
Oh, he has like a Terminator knockoff film, Future Kick.
Oh my God. I can't believe that these people do that. I think as much as people might hate his movies, Steven Seagal was at least original. You know,
I mean, I guess.
It's all the same. Steven Seagal is this badass that nobody could ever beat, even though he's completely out of shape. And
I heard he was an actual badass.
Yes, he used to be when he was
like
younger.
He would fuck you up.
But what was it Enter the Dragon that Chuck Norris was in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that like his first film ever?
I don't know. It might have been.
He's a tiny little dude.
Is he?
Yeah, Chuck Norris. I think Chuck Norris is like 5'7".
Really?
Yeah. And what amazed me even more is how short Danny DeVito actually is. Like, because you know he's short. You know Danny DeVito's short.
Well, he's like 5'0", right?
Yeah, something crazy. You're like, I expect him to be like 5'5" or something like that. Let's see. Danny DeVito height.
Dude, they have they have Blood Fist 3 on YouTube. I don't know if I should click on it and see if the scene is anything like I remember it.
I think we were both way off on Danny DeVito. He's 4'10".
Holy shit. That's
Dude,
super short.
He's a dwarf.
I don't know about
Does he
that.
have a condition?
I don't know if he's a dwarf.
Well, because, see, his daughter, Lucy DeVito, is 4'11". His wife, you remember Ray Perlman?
Yeah.
She's 5 foot. Joe Pesci is the one that looks really short, but he's only 5'4". So he's not super short.
No.
Is Danny DeVito dead? Oh my God.
Have you seen, since you mentioned Chuck Norris, have you seen Chuck Norris reading statements about Chuck Norris?
No.
It's pretty fucking hilarious, dude.
I'll have to watch that. Let me write this down. Now, weren't you going to tell me a story?
I was going to tell you a story. I don't know if I should tell it, though. It's kind of embarrassing.
Is there someone present that
No.
doesn't want to hear this story?
No. I don't give a crap, dude.
I'm going to tell her you said that.
I know, like, plain old, like, macho alpha man, like, here, and then all of a sudden, like,
sorry, honey.
hey. No, so I went on a trip once, and it was actually it was Tacoma? I can't remember if it was Tacoma or if it was Seattle. But anyways, what I do remember is that we stayed at it's a Holiday Inn, and the law had just passed where you couldn't have any smoking indoors.
Okay.
So, I was a smoker, and like none of the pilots that I went with smoked. I was the only one. And you know, I mean, in our line of work, we don't fucking hang out with the crew chief. They do their own thing for the most part. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you forget they're there.
sorry, Lonnie.
It's all good.
Life is past, dude.
Just let me know when you're ready, and we'll pick up from where you were at.
All right, I'm ready.
And go.
So I'm outside smoking, and you know, I see a girl like on the distance, and you know, I didn't think anything. I'm just like outside, like you know, minding my own business, and and then next thing I know, she's like right next to me. She's like sitting down, and I'm like, like what the fuck, you know? So she's like, hey, can I bump a smoke? And I'm like, sure, why not, you know? And we started talking, and you know, I'm at I had to go work that day, so I'm like, hey, you know, I'll see you later, see you around or whatever. Didn't think anything of it, and you know, went to work, came back the next day, go out and smoke, and the same girl is there, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And she's like, hey, like what's up? And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, hey, do you have another smoke? And I'm like, sure. So, you know, before this, like I'm telling everybody, like, yeah, I just met this girl, you know, like outside, it was pretty cool, like, you know, it just made me feel like I still got it.
I know where this is going.
and and then we started talking again, and she's just like, hey, well, you know, I know the people around here, so if you want to hang out, those are the ones that if you want to hang out, and I'm like, okay, I guess. And
Like,
she's
this
like, I
is
mean,
too easy.
yeah, like I can come up to your room and they won't say anything and stuff, and I mean, you think you can help me out? And I'm just like, oh. uh,
Oh,
so I had to, like at the time, you know, I was married, so I was like, yeah, I'm married. So I went upstairs, like all fucking depressed, like you know, I thought I still had it. I didn't realize I was being picked up by a hooker.
but do you know for sure?
Well, that's the next part of the story. So I will go back to my room, and I have a view of the street, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I see her like going into this guy's car, and the car just like drives away.
Oh,
I was just like, okay, it's
there's my
confirmed.
confirmation. uh,
So I don't know if I ever told you that story before, but it it got something similar happened to like somebody that I know, and it just triggered the memory.
oh, it's, that's depressing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's depressing is if I would have gotten back and say like I think she really likes me.
Yeah, that would be worse. That would be worse. You feel like you can save her.
Yeah. No. And you know, but it's so fucking unfortunate because she was actually pretty cute, you know, like aside from her being a hooker and stuff.
That doesn't mean anything nowadays.
Yeah, I know. And when we talk, it was like a genuine conversation, but then she had to put business on it, you know.
Have you ever seen that movie Dutch?
Dutch.
Yeah, with the guy from Married with Children.
Ed O'Neill.
Yes, yes. Does Modern Family now, and
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that.
it's a good one. He's going on a road trip with his girlfriend's son to bring him home because his dad is like this rich jerk that doesn't really give a shit about his son. So in order to get to know each other, you know, the mom sends her boyfriend, you know, Ed O'Neill, to go pick her son up from boarding school to bring him home for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up picking these two hookers up, and they don't realize it at first, but he kind of, you know, like Ed O'Neill kind of gets it. Or no, they get picked up, they get a ride from these two girls. But Ed O'Neill, like puts the pieces together and he kind of figures it out shortly after the trip starts. And the kid, he's talking to the other girl in the back seat, and she's obviously kind of flirting with him and stuff like that, and not too much, because he's still a kid. But they get out of the car at the gas station, and the kid's like acting like she really likes me, and he's like she talks to me, she listens, and Ed O'Neill's like, yeah, that's her job,
Oh. You ever been picked up by a hooker, Lonnie?
It's possible.
It's possible.
I don't think I would. I don't think I remember, any of that.
Oh, you're a gentleman. You don't kiss and tell. That's funny.
No, I really don't think so. But I will say there were a lot of them in Hawaii, in Waikiki.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't know it because they dressed normal. Or at least they dressed like they were going to the club or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everybody was saying that Hawaii was bad like that, and when I went, I was looking for that bad, and then I got the news that it was like, oh no, they cleaned this street up.
You're like,
they
oh,
cleaned everything up, and I'm just like, why?
What a shame, It's a really beautiful part of the town,
Like, why? Like, I want that.
Oh yeah, I had one of the pilots actually point out a few, because he apparently sees them every time he goes out there. And he's like, oh yeah, there's that one and that one and that one,
Yeah, sees them, right?
Yeah, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
I won't release any names. Do you remember the story about the kid who was in the Air Force that, I guess it was a true story. I mean, I'm assuming that because it was told to me by a couple of different people, and it was told in the exact same way that some kid had gone to Kadena, and then went into Tokyo or something, and he took his government travel card, like the travel credit card that had like $5,000 on it.
Yeah.
And he used the entirety of it at a bunny ranch.
No way.
Yep, and he came home and he couldn't pay it. I mean, it was the government travel card. You remember, like, even if you went to use it to, like, go buy groceries, like personal groceries when you were still at home, if you put the money back within a couple days, nobody cared. But it was one of those things, like, they're still going to look to see where you used it.
Yeah, if you get audited, then yeah, it makes a difference. Because technically, it was not a credit card to build your credit.
Yeah, I mean, because it had your name, but it wasn't your credit.
Right.
It was still the government's credit card. But yeah, the kid used the entirety of the $5,000 at a bunny ranch, and they saw it, they found out, and they kicked him out right then and there.
And did they charge him the $5,000?
Oh, I'm sure they did. Or it's possible that they just cut their ties, and said, just get the hell out, and accepted the losses. But I just couldn't believe, like, when I heard the story the first time, I just didn't believe it, because I was like, that who would do that? But then, of course, you have to remember some of the people that we used to serve with.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say anything, because remember, I got accused of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, yes, I remember that because I got pulled in when I was overseas by OSI, and they questioned me in a friggin' tiny little room, asking me if I knew who you were, if I knew who this other individual was. Yeah. And I was like, no, this is how it went, You didn't steal shit.
You didn't steal. That's so funny because everybody else didn't see it that way.
Yeah, it was because of this one person, Yeah,
well, yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, now I laugh about it because it's just like, whenever I tell that story, like it's like, yeah, I got accused of Grand Theft Auto and I actually got reprimanded for it. at least I didn't get, an Article 15 or whatever it would have been.
So they gave you I'm pretty sure they
But
gave you an actual letter of reprimand, right?
yeah, they did give me a letter of reprimand, which went out of my file as soon as I transferred to the reserves.
And they're like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't, like, there's no proof of it ever existing.
Yeah.
So, uh, so yeah, they see it and they just go like, yeah, like I don't believe you. Like, you don't have to. Like, it doesn't exist. So it's a made up story for all I know, right?
Yeah.
For all I care. But so I shouldn't be too hard on this guy that he's, at least he got laid. What did I get? Fuck.
Well, not only did he get that, but that's $5,000 worth in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And for that stuff, I don't know if anybody knows about that. Like that kind of thing in Tokyo is pretty commonplace. Like at least on the outskirts, not necessarily in the city, but that kind of thing. It doesn't demand the premium that it has over here. So whatever he did that cost $5,000, I'm sure was worth it, at least for the time being.
Yeah. He did. Did he? I wonder if he brought a souvenir.
I'm sure he employed the entirety of the ranch that night.
Oh man. Which I don't. That's stupid though. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, just come to TJ. It's a lot cheaper. It's probably a lot safer.
Are you trying to sell it?
No, I'm not trying to sell it. I know that it sells on its own. Like, I'm just saying, like,
Well,
there's no need to pay. Like, if you're gonna have a transaction-based relationship, like, i.e., you're gonna just get hookers. Fuck, there's no place like TJ to do it.
well, I think there's a stigma with Tijuana that it's false because I've been there many times. And I think the stigma is that because there just happens to be some kids selling chiclets, and
I don't see it much anymore.
well, that's what I mean is they cleaned it up a lot.
Yeah, I see a lot of people cleaning windshields, but I mean that's kind of like a norm.
Well, yeah, but that's like being in East LA,
That's what I'm saying. Like, but yeah, I mean, like I remember, like everybody would ask me if I've ever been to a donkey show, and I was like, dude, like, that's like a fucking urban legend, right?
You're like, we might be crazy, but we ain't, donkey show crazy.
and like I said, I mean, I've been to the fucking like the ghetto TJ, like where you don't dress nice, you dress ghetto in order to like fit in with the people.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. I just got it.
Well, that's like I remember there was one time that
we never found a fucking donkey show.
Yeah, it's
never found.
It's just one of those things. Like I say, there's that stigma, and I don't know where it came from. I know that at one point Tijuana wasn't quite as nice as it is now. But I don't think.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't think it was ever as bad. I think it's just Americans have this, this view, and unless you're in the military or you travel a lot, you really don't ever see these types of things in the world with other countries. Like Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan was the perfect example. Tell me that is not one of the most beautiful countries you have ever been to as far as landscape.
Yep. Yeah, it was really pretty.
I mean, green everywhere, and it's right at all at the foot of these beautiful mountain ranges. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of like a valley. I don't know, it's really weird. I really don't know how to explain it, but I thought what was funny is that since you're surrounded by mountains and you have the fog just build up there.
God, that fog was so bad. I've told you that story, right? The one where AC Blackwood. You remember her? It's like one of the coolest pilots that I've ever flown with, and I got the privilege of being on her crew, I think, for my second deployment.
Allegedly. This allegedly happened.
Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't tell it, but all in all, the scariest fucking landing. I mean, we had to. It wasn't like she had a choice, but we had to land, and the fog was so fucking thick. And that was the night we found out that the glide slope, or at least the flight plan, or what? God, I can't believe I forgot the name of this. I blocked everything out. Um, what do they call it? They have all the runways in that book. They have all the runways and all the approaches, like the landing approach. You
Mm-hmm.
remember this, right? And it showed you
Yeah.
the angle and how high the runway was above sea
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I know
Uh,
it's like I blocked it all out. I don't know why I can't remember this. But anyway,
it's
that was off by over 200 feet to the left.
ugh.
So the runway was like a little over 200 feet to the right of where they said it was on that plan. And we found out a couple hundred feet above the runway and went, oh shit. And we did like this bank in the fog. And that was the scariest landing I have ever been in. But at the end of it, we all kind of just did the heavy breathing and the holy shit, we're alive. And have you ever had a fire on a plane?
I had an electrical fire, yes, but it was we didn't
Evacuate?
we hadn't no, we hadn't taken off. So
Oh, so you weren't in an oxygen-rich environment.
no, but I did have an electrical like battery like a battery burnt, and dude, that thing was like hurting my eye. We were on oxygen
Oh
for
yeah, like the acid and
yeah.
stuff, and yeah.
It's like an acid. It's just like a burnt battery. It's just it, but it's not a like in the air in the airplane. It's not a pleasant smell. Like it burns.
Well, yeah, that was my fire was. I think we were probably at around 25 to 30,000 feet when it happened, and the main bus panel lit on fire. Which, honestly, I could say I've never seen a breaker panel light on fire before. But that spread pretty fast. I mean, we were able to get it out and land and everything, but it's amazing how fast fire travels in an oxygen-rich environment.
Yep.
It's kind of scary, but there's a lot of interesting stories about that plane. I do have memories of actually flying on that one that crashed out in Kyrgyzstan, the 8877. And I looked in my my flight logs. I actually have that a bunch of times. I flew on that plane.
Wait, you mean the one that got hit by the other?
No, 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 no. The one that crashed.
We had a plane that crashed.
Yes, the 93rd Air Refueling Squadron. You don't remember this from a few years ago?
And I don't remember a plane crashed.
Yeah, here. It's let me get it for you. KC-135 crash in Kyrgyzstan.
In Kyrgyzstan. We talking about Fairchild. We're talking about Washington.
Yes, our old refueling squadron. Um,
I,
Here
I
you
mean,
go.
I remember a plane getting hit by a civilian airplane
Yes,
during takeoff.
there was that, but this was. I can't believe you have to have heard of this. I mean,
I remember hearing about an actual plane crash, dude.
yeah, here you go. Let me see.
Not on a 135, at least. Like,
Yes, it was tail number. Tail number 8877. And I know you've flown on it before. I sent it to you on Facebook Messenger here, but at least the article, at least one of the articles rather. But I don't know. I don't think I knew any of the crew. I just know for a fact that I have been on that plane many times.
holy shit. 2013. 11 minutes after takeoff.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep, they all died, obviously. I mean, it was pretty fucked up, the whole situation. And I guess it was something, they said they had the Dutch roll. Did you ever get that in the simulator, like any of the training? I mean, it was something that you would never get. I actually got to do some experience with it in the simulator, but it was only because I was with a colonel at the time, and he just wanted, like we had some extra time, and he wanted to try it out. And it's scary as shit. I mean,
Yeah, see, when we were doing simulations on that, like, like I've only met one flight safety guy that was like truly honest. He said, if this shit happens,
you die.
dude, it's like just try it. This is you actually have checklist steps, like, but just try it. And then they're like doing it. It's like, yeah, by that time you're already dead.
Oh, see, this article is saying that lack of training and inexperience with the Dutch roll was tied to the KC-135 loss in Kyrgyzstan. See, I call bullshit on that because there's no way you can train for that. I'm sorry. Unless that's all you do for the next few months is train for that specifically. There's no way you're getting out of that. I mean, first of all, that plane is not meant to do those types of things.
Wow, 83-degree nose down attitude.
Yes, talk about throwing up, with the negative G's. There was no way they were getting out of that, but yeah, I just wanted to see if you had I can't believe you haven't heard of this.
No, dude, I don't remember this at all. Like,
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, the whole thing, it's the first time we've lost crew members in a long time, like for any part of the military.
I don't see that if they released the names on this article.
No, I don't. They do somewhere else, but for privacy purposes, I wouldn't do it on the podcast. But
No, I want to. If these were guys that were in our squadron, I want to know.
You might have known them because you were still. No, you didn't. You leave right before I left, or did you leave after?
I left. I left after.
Okay, so then you may know them because it's only 2013, and I got out 2007. I left Fairchild, so. Yeah, it's an interesting story, an interesting event. Yeah, that's crazy to me that you haven't heard any of this. I mean, because you're friends with some of the other the guys that we were in the squadron with on Facebook and stuff. So
yeah, so I mean this is the first I'm hearing about this. This is fucked up, dude.
Just to let anybody know that's listening. I mean, there was obviously this crash in Kyrgyzstan, where it was one of the places where we used to deploy to and do operations in Afghanistan. And for reference, the KC-135 is one of those planes that you don't egress from. And any successful egress attempts are very, very rare, if any. I don't think that there's any stories of anybody being able to successfully get the hell out of a KC-135.
No, because they usually landed. It's just it.
I mean, it's a small enough plane where you can land it in most places, and it's a big enough plane that you can do a lot of operations with it. But
we had, I think that that airplane had the record of like safest airplane. Like,
yeah, I think the oldest jet I flew on was like a 56 or a 57, like for the year, like a 1956 or 57. That thing flew forever, and it's still flying. But, yeah.
Fuck, man.
Did I just blow your mind?
Yeah, you really did. This is, I didn't. 2013, I mean, I guess it makes sense because I got out in, like, I just got officially released, not long ago, but I stopped flying like in 2011, because that's when I was doing school, so it's like I would rarely fly, rarely be in the squadron.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was one of those things. I heard about it and I saw the tail number on the news, and I'm like, holy shit! I think I've been on that thing.
I mean, we probably did if it's in Fairchild.
Oh, if it, that's what I mean. It was in Fairchild. You flew on it at one point. You know, go back through your flight logs. I'm sure you still have them.
Yeah, I do.
Go through them and you can see the tail number. So, yeah, give it a look. It's
Fuck. That's all. That's all. Wow. Yeah, thanks for fucking depressing us here, Lonnie. Man, I mean, if I know the people now, I feel bad because I didn't like.
Well, it wasn't like spread around a lot. Now that I remember, I mean, it was on the news for a little while, but it was on the news here because Fairchild is here.
Yeah.
But it was on the news for a while, but it wasn't like this big thing.
Well, I mean, it never is, right?
Yeah. I mean, how often do you hear about every single soldier that died?
Yeah, but Kim Kardashian being robbed, I mean, that's important.
It's not. I mean, that's the kind of news I need. Yeah. And those people voted liberal. Sorry to any of the liberals out there, but I don't if it hasn't become obvious by now, I'm not a fan. So, your Chargers play tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they do. Hopefully they won't fuck it up.
And that's a team that their record does not show how good they actually are. It's kind of the Chargers are like I don't know, they depress me.
They're like that ex-girlfriend that keeps giving you false hope.
Yeah.
and you keep taking the bait each and every single time, accepting her promises about the relationship being better, and it just gets bitter and bitter and bitter.
Well, they just came out with the ruling, California did, where they're not going to let them move the stadium.
Yeah.
So that's even more depressing for them.
Yeah, no Charger Stadium. We have weed now though.
Yeah, you got legal weed.
Okay. And Encinitas was doing this. Now I guess it's the whole entire fucking state, but there's no more plastic bags.
Oh yeah, I read up on that after you had told me. I'm like, really? I mean, how hippie can you get?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's talking about like the Cal exit and all that shit. And it's like, dude, like you can't support yourself as a state. You're not gonna fucking do it as a country. But I mean, maybe I should be like the one saying like, you know what? No, California, I'm gonna exit you.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Maybe I should go. Maybe I should go back to Washington or something, or maybe I should like move to. I don't know.
It's still pretty liberal up here, but I really enjoy living up in Washington State. Honestly, it's a decent place to raise a family.
Well, maybe I should move to Texas. Like.
Oh God. At least you can carry your gun there, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. At least I can have my guns, and there won't be any issues. And
there's tons of you Mexicans out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the food sucks. Tex-Mex is just not. That's just not good Mexican food.
You don't like Tex-Mex?
No, I fucking hate Tex-Mex.
Do you find it to be heresy?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, the ideas behind them are good, but fuck, the execution, dude. It's like, it feels like every Tex-Mex, they just buy it off of a fucking can and they just feed it to you.
I'm pretty sure that's what they do for the most part.
Yeah, and it's not good. It's like Sonic,
Hey, are you seriously going to do this?
I am going to do this because if you go to Sonic, like, granted, the drinks are great, and I love the strawberry limeade, But if you order the fries, like not the fries, like the tots, the tater tots.
Yeah, their tots are
with,
disgusting.
If you order them with the what do they call it? They have the chili or
The chili cheese tots?
yeah, they have chili. Yeah, they put chili beans right on them.
Yeah.
That thing is so fucking nasty, dude.
Well, I think they get
But
it out of a big can or something.
you eat it, yeah, but you eat it once because because you're in Texas, but then you have like explosive diarrhea and so,
Yeah, that's like going to Taco Bell. Every
right,
time I go to
exactly.
Taco Bell, I get the shits.
It is like going to Taco Bell.
It's like
So
the only time Taco Bell is good is when you're wasted, or if you're really hungry.
yeah, and there's nothing around,
See, aren't you one of those people that likes Arby's, like my wife?
No, I fucking hate
Shit,
Arby's.
oh, thank God.
I hate Arby's.
See, I don't get the fascination with Arby's.
Me neither. I think their food is nasty.
I think it tastes synthetic. I don't know any other way to describe it. Like synthetic, like I mean, like you remember that Jeff Goldblum, The Fly?
Yeah.
You know, and he teleported the meat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he made her Gina Davis taste it, and she says like it tastes like it's synthetic. That's what I envision when I eat Arby's.
It tastes synthetic.
Yeah, it's like this fake meat. I understand that it's probably one of the freshest of all the fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
It just doesn't taste that way. And I've lost a little love for most of the fast food chains just because I feel like shit after I eat it. I still like Dairy Queen. I still like Wendy's. But I don't think I can do much of Burger King and Jack in the Box anymore. And I certainly will never do McDonald's again.
Why?
I can't stand McDonald's. I think McDonald's is absolutely filthy, disgusting.
I had McDonald's the other day. That was yummy.
I don't even like their chicken McNuggets anymore.
I had a quarter pounder with cheese.
A Royale with cheese.
A Royale with cheese.
Yeah.
So, Lonnie, I was going to tell my drunk story.
Go ahead.
Because somebody had a petition to finish the drunk story that we started on podcast number 1.
Oh, yes, the one where you almost died. Okay.
Yeah, the one where you almost killed me.
Every man makes his own decisions, Zumi.
I know. But, I'm just going to give a small recap. I need you to fill in the gaps, though, because I really don't remember much. And then I know you asked me a question yesterday, and I told you we'll leave it for the podcast because we're probably gonna disagree on what's up.
Okay.
So on my drunk story, the day the night I nearly died.
Sure. Yeah.
So a little background. I do have the Asian gene, and I have a slight allergy to alcohol.
Slight?
But slight. That's an understatement. So as much as I liked drinking back then, it never stopped me. And growing up in Mexico, I think I started drinking when I was 14. That's when I had my first beer, and then on parties and stuff, I would always drink tequila. So it was I would prefer the hard liquor versus beer.
Filling your stomach with beer.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I felt pretty confident, and when we went to Washington, we just met, and this was one of the first outings we had together, right?
I actually, yes, I think it was at least after you came to Fairchild.
So
I'm sorry.
So Lonnie comes in. Lonnie comes in and he says, we're going out drinking. And we were both underage, right? We were both 20.
It could be. I will not say if we were or weren't.
I will neither confirm or deny. So, anyways, we weren't supposed to be drinking. Let me just say that.
In any capacity, really.
In any capacity, yeah. And then I said, "Fuck yeah, all right, let's do it. We'll go." And so we were smart about it. We would never go to a place that we didn't trust the people that we're gonna be with, and if we couldn't stay there, then yeah, we're not drinking, right?
Absolutely.
At least to that point, we were responsible. So we go to this place, and they have tequila, they have rum, they have beer, right? They had beer.
I'm sure they did, but I don't remember because we didn't really drink it. So
Yeah, so we, me being, my following my tradition, and I see the tequila, I'm saying I'm sticking with tequila shots. And the first 2-3 shots of tequila are fine, right? So the one tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor didn't really apply to me or I didn't think it applied to me at that point. So then these friends of yours were doing what, honey? Friends of yours, they were doing what?
Was this when they were doing the mudslide shots?
They were doing mudslide shots.
Which are disgusting, by the way.
But, Robert has a fucking sweet tooth, and they tell him, oh, like, once you drink it, it tastes just like a fucking chocolate cupcake. And I'm like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Are you sure we weren't doing the chocolate cake shots?
No.
Oh, no, because we did, they did some of those, but we just weren't into it like everybody else was.
Yeah,
I remember this.
Once I drank with mudslides, because they promised me it was going to take it was going to taste like a chocolate cupcake. And they said it's the same process as tequila, except instead of putting salt in your hand, you put sugar. And I'm like, I'm fucking down with it. So I take a shot, right?
Right.
And it does taste like chocolate, and I'm like, this is good. But this is what I don't remember. I don't remember if it was just one shot, one mudslide, or if it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, I can never remember. Yeah. Before
it went downhill. Because I remember I on the last one, I just went like, all right, this is not agreeing with my stomach. I need to puke. And they just pointed out to this, I don't know, they had a bucket or a can there. Like, I remember that there being a trash bag.
I don't know. It was very dark.
It was very dark. The thing is, I puked, and I'm like, oh, I'll be okay, like, I just puked, okay, I didn't agree with stuff, I'm not drinking this anymore, I'm sticking with tequila. And I think after that, I did another shot of tequila, and then right there, the floor part applied.
You made the mistake of adding elements into your process.
Exactly. So what happened afterwards? I all I remember is getting up, and eventually just finding the restroom and puking to the point where eventually there's no more puke coming out.
Yeah.
It's just the gag reflex. There's not even any acids coming out.
Dry heaving.
Yeah, but
I mean, you were.
But throughout the night, what happened to you guys? How did you guys see me?
The way that I saw you on the couch a couple of times, and you were about as red as a beet. I didn't even know Mexicans could get red. But, I mean, I was already 3 shots past buzzed. So my motherly instinct wasn't there. So, but I remember seeing you on the couch a couple of times and asking you how you were doing, and it was never a clear answer. It was always kind of like waving me away or something like that, or or pissed off a little bit or something like that. So I just kind of left you alone for the most part, but I do remember you breathing heavily a couple of times,
So
and
I probably got the shakes where you're just like
something like that. But it was,
you kind of like a fish out of water.
I mean, I do remember being worried about you and me attempting to speak to Alvin or somebody. I'm pretty sure it was Alvin. Was it Alvin? Was he even there
Yeah,
yet?
yeah, I think he was there.
No, 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 no. Alvin was there. Alvin had to have been there. Anyway, I was talking to somebody. I mean, Alvin wouldn't have helped me, because Alvin. As soon as the alcohol comes out, he's already pounded half the bottle.
Yeah.
But I do remember there being concern and asking people if we should do something, and we kind of talked ourselves out of it because you may or may not have been at a legal age, So it's like, do we really want to fuck up his career, But we kind of waited it out, and then I can think a lot of people just kind of passed out. But
So you left. In other words, you left me alone.
I didn't leave you alone. I mean, I cared enough about you that
That we talked about it.
we had a talk, and you seemed okay.
Oh my god, dude! I, but what I just like I said, I remember like ins and outs of me getting up and going to the restroom and getting like the dry puking, and then in the morning I remember just saying like, oh, okay, I feel better now, but I had this massive fucking headache.
Yeah, that's from the sugar.
Yeah, I it just that thing did just not mix well with me, and
yet we still kept drinking together.
yeah, and that you would think like after having that near death experience, like you say like, dude, you pretty much had alcohol poisoning.
And
That
we've done much worse together. I mean,
yeah,
as far as alcohol goes, like we've done, I mean, God, just my dorm room. Do you remember my dorm room with
yeah,
all
I
the
remember
alcohol I used to have?
that was like a fucking liquor bar, like
Yeah, I'm sure my wife remembers that. I mean, the entirety of the kitchen that I shared with John, was that his name? I'm pretty sure it was John. Not the first guy, the douchebag. The next guy. Because once I was 21, I mean, that place was loaded. And it wasn't loaded there for very long because, obviously, like right after my 21st birthday, I think is when I got married to Christelle, like after 22. But I mean, I used to have Jaeger. I used to have whiskey. I would have Hypnotic. You remember that shit?
I do, and I'm
That was such a
like,
poor choice.
dude, till now I can't drink Jaeger anymore.
Oh, I still like Jaeger.
I can't stand the smell. It just it makes me want to puke.
See, I'll drink Jaeger right out of the bottle.
No, I
'Cause
can't do it. If I see you doing that in front of me, I'd probably gag.
Well, as a matter of fact, let me get the webcam on and I'll show you. No,
Asshole.
no.
But yeah, good times, right?
Yeah, I guess we did have a lot of fun with
I think
alcohol, but
I,
the only
it,
person that ever really stayed up with me to drink was Alvin.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
Alvin and I were trying to chase whatever the hell you guys had, because you guys would be, pounded drunk,
yeah.
and here's Alvin and I sitting at the dinner table, going, well, should we keep trying?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like it's a double-edged sword. I mean, one, yeah, I will never last the entire night like drinking, but on the other side, I'm a cheap date.
Yeah. Well, Christelle just texted me a list, or at least the start of a list of the things she remembers that I used to have in my liquor cabinet, so to speak. Tequila, always had Casadores. I remember that. Always had
Yeah,
to have
yeah,
Casadores in case Zumi came over. Um, Captain Morgan's, that was always a big thing just because everybody drank it.
yeah.
Sour Pucker, I remember that because it was like, who's gonna do it? Like, who's gonna drink the Sour Pucker and be the pussy? You know? But it was always because I think we were always mixing sour pucker with stuff, to make it taste a little better, make it a little bit more fun or something like that. It was never, you don't drink sour pucker alone. Like, that's not,
Oh, dude, do
yes,
you remember
Junker. Yes, I know where you're going with this.
that?
Should I
Dude.
tell that story? I'm going to tell that story. Okay. Okay, first, let me finish the list of what she sent me. Okay, so we had tequila for Zumi, Captain Morgan for everybody, sour pucker for the pussies, wild turkey for me, but nobody ever wanted to do it with me, except for
No,
Alvin when I could convince him to take hard liquor.
no.
Vodka, just because it mixes with everything, and Goldschlager. Not, yeah, Goldschlager. Oh, and of course, Captain Morgan tattoo. You remember that shit?
I do. I
That
still drink it.
It's actually really good. I mean, it's a decent drink. It's kind of sweet, but it was good stuff. But let's go ahead and go to the.
The
Okay.
Junker story.
Yes, Airman Junker, we love you. You're probably a sergeant by now, but which is scary in all kinds of ways. So, okay. I was tasked with every now and then, like, the first sergeant or the commander would ask you to be the sponsor of the new airman that's coming into the base, just to kind of show them around, tell them what time they need to be at different places, tell them where those places are, and kind of help them get settled in. Like show them where the chow hall and all that stuff is, the store. Well, I got tasked with picking up this airman from the airport. And, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll go pick him up. And when he got into the car, we proceeded to talk a little bit. And he wasn't a boom operator. He was part of, was it CQ?
I don't know.
Something like that. He was behind the desk at the squadron with Sergeant Veers, who I miss dearly. But we were talking to him and asking him, and we kind of, had the question, like, hey, do you drink? You can always hang out with us if you wanted to, But he's like, yeah, I drink, and I remember asking him, so what's your drink of choice? What do you like to drink? And he said sour pucker. And we all kind of laugh, we're like, whatever. And I'm like, no, really, what's your drink? Because I'm thinking I'll go buy like a small bottle, the next time he wants to come over or something. And he seriously comes out and says, sour pucker. And so the car gets quiet, It's like, is this dude for real? Dude, this is the United States Air Force. I understand we're not the Marines, but you don't say that shit, At least you don't admit it to anyone. You do that shit on your own,
Did he go drinking with us once, like at your in your dorm?
Dude, I don't even know. There's so many people that came in and out of there all the time.
Because I remember somebody asking for a pussy drink like that, and you were like, no, and you gave him wild turkey.
It might have been. It could have been. I don't
I
know.
remember. Yeah, I remember something like that, and
I I
those
do
are
remember you coming into my dorm room all the time and passing out on my couch.
it's like I didn't have a couch in my room.
That was like Zumi's ritual. It's like I never locked my door because, Zumi might want to take a nap, and I had the smallest TV in the world. You remember that thing?
I do
And I
remember
had
that
my
thing.
GameCube hooked up to it, and God, good times. And we actually, it was right before you bought your first flat screen TV.
Yeah,
I had bought like a bigger tube television. God, this is dating us. Like, this is making us seem old. But
I know. You
like,
know that TV that you just mentioned? My kids broke it.
oh, how long did it last?
Since I bought, it was 2004. Yeah, I think it was no, it wasn't '04. It was
No.
2005. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
in 2005. So 10 years.
God. And that was a pretty decent TV, at least for the time. I mean, it was a
Yeah, it was.
720, but it was
It was
still wonderful. I mean, like that's where we watched movies from then on out.
Yep, 720p, and it would play 1080i on some devices.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember playing that um, ESPN boxing game.
Oh yeah,
Remember how
Fight
we?
Night.
Yes,
Yeah,
Fight Night. Dude, we got into that.
yeah, that was fun.
And that was about the time that Alvin would never hang out with us because he was playing World of Warcraft, or at least masturbating in his closet. Tell people the story about how you walked in on Alvin that one time, and the thing that you always said when you walked into Alvin's room. Tell,
Oh man,
preface it.
I've totally forgotten about that. Thanks for reminding me about
It's
it.
a good story. It's a good story. It's a short story, but it's a good one.
Yeah, well, I used to always like knock on it, like do like one knock, but I didn't give a chance to like people to get ready. It's just one knock, open the door, and I would always come in saying like, I hope nobody's masturbating. So, but this one time, I didn't fucking knock, and I just opened the door, and he is he's going at it in his couch. I don't know, but I have
Aggressively.
I have the frontal view of him going at it with a fucking flashlight. Oh, the look
Wait, whoa,
on
whoa,
his
whoa, whoa! I didn't know that he had a fleshlight in this
face,
story.
yeah, it was with the flashlight,
Oh,
and he looks up at me. He's just like, oh, like he's like a little girl, and like puts a pillow like on his leg.
you don't call it a pillow. That was his mistress. You
Okay,
know.
his
Oh,
he just puts it on his leg.
Simi walks in. Hope
He just
nobody's
makes-
masturbating.
Oh man, I was just go like sorry, and then all I hear is just like step, 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 clack.
The door locking.
And I think I just immediately ran to your room and told you the story.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And I think you were a little traumatized too, like when you came up to my room, because I remember you not thinking of it as necessarily funny. Like you were like genuinely concerned that you may have upset your friend. You know? Yep. And that was around the same time that James came to the squadron.
oh, Jimmy, I
Oh,
miss Jimmy.
I do miss Jimmy. He was one of those guys that didn't talk a lot, but when he did, you shut up and listen.
Yeah,
You know, good
straight
people,
guy.
good people.
All right, we're beating around the bush here, Lonnie.
Okay.
All right, it's too much fun. Let's get serious now.
Oh shit.
We need to talk.
Oh, you want to do that one?
We're
Yes,
gonna do that.
I did want to talk to you about this, didn't I?
Yep, and we've been dreading on this one because I know we're gonna have a difference in opinion.
Okay, so real quick.
No, not real quick. We're gonna spend some
No,
time
no,
on this
no.
one.
What I'm gonna do is describe what you just did there when you said we need to talk, because
Oh,
this is a topic of conversation that
yeah,
I don't enjoy.
yeah. So yesterday you called me and you said like, "Hey, I hate when people or specifically girls say we need to talk."
Yes, because it's never good. It's never good when anyone says we need to talk, right? Come
Well,
on.
not necessarily.
Okay. So when someone says we need to talk, you don't automatically think, "Oh, we're going to get ice cream." You know, it's always something that, it's going to be either bad or it's not going to be fun at the very least. Because if it was fun or if it was something that was exciting, then they would just come out and say what the thing is, or they would just start talking. instead of prefacing it with, we need to talk. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
You're just an
You're
asshole.
just an asshole. No, see, this is the thing though. Like the we need to talk speech, and it's usually done by women. It has nothing to do with whatever's going on at that point. So I always use the example of taking out the garbage.
Uh-huh.
You said, would you take out the garbage? And you said, yes, I'll take out the garbage. And then you don't fucking take out the garbage. So she comes in and she says, we need to talk. And says, you didn't fucking take out the garbage. And she's pissed at you. You go and you take out the garbage and she's still pissed at you. And then guys usually make the mistake of going like, but I took out the fucking trash. Like, what else do you want? So at that point, it's not about the garbage. It's about you not keeping your word.
Blah.
So a woman,
blah.
so a woman will test you, will keep on testing you to see if she can trust you.
And this opens up a whole new line of questions.
I know.
And which we've already talked about this before privately, about how I think and I believe that the way that women think is completely and utterly illogical and unfounded in reality.
And I will tell you that women are extremely logical and rational if you understand their process.
But their process is flawed.
How do you know?
Okay. Because, like, I've given you the example. I can tell you that as a man, if you ask me what my favorite color is, just as a small, ridiculous example, if you ask me what my favorite color is, I say black or red, whatever it is. When you ask a woman what her favorite color is, now this, I'm not saying that this question, goes for all women. I'm just saying that as an example, if you were to ask a woman her favorite color or her favorite anything, they have to give you an explanation as to why. I'm not saying just the color. I'm just giving that as an example. Say why don't you like going to this store, or why do you like this movie? It could be something as, like if you ask me as a guy, some of those things I'll understand, like from women, like if they want to explain to me, like if Christelle wants to explain to me why she likes this and what event in her life has caused her to like that. But it's that type of explanation goes for all facets of their likes and dislikes, their preferences. It's like instead of just telling me the story, they got to tell me how they felt about it first.
And that's what you don't get.
Yes, that's what I don't get.
Women are emotional beings.
And I'm saying that emotion has nothing to do with logic.
But for them it does.
Which is why it's flawed.
It's not flawed. Like I said, you're focusing on what every other fucking guy that has had a relationship, an issue, or an argument that could have ended easily just by shutting the fuck up and saying, "You're right, honey. Let me fix this right now."
Okay. We're gonna end this right now. I'm gonna have Christelle get on for just a second. I'm gonna listen in, and
she's gonna take my side, dude.
That's fine. I am perfectly okay with the women thinking I'm wrong, because it makes me feel like I'm right, because we have the right way to do it. So, go ahead.
Wow.
Here, I'm going to give her an earbud here, and she will talk to you about this. Here, hang on.
You're kind of an asshole.
Yes, I am much of an asshole. Thank you.
Okay.
Exactly, Lonnie. You are being an asshole.
He's a giant asshole.
You have to speak into the mic, sweetie.
Okay, we'll bring it to my...
There you go.
Okay, here we go. What's up now?
So the thing in question here is that Lonnie is confused on why
Don't say
women,
confused.
Oh, I know. He thinks it's
why women,
illogical. Or
why women uh, will have to explain the emotion behind a a certain decision that you girls take.
uh-huh.
So, for example, for us, for men, it's black and white. So the example he used is my favorite color is black.
Uh-huh.
A woman would say my favorite color is blank because it makes me feel a certain way. Blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
Well, for simple questions like that, I think women just like to talk. Ask me a simple question and I'll give you a simple answer. I don't know why women feel like
But
they have to talk about everything.
I only meant that, not necessarily color. That's a bad example. Let's say, why don't
It's
you
almost
like
simplistic.
the movie Pulp Fiction? You know, that could be a pretty simple answer. You know, it could be that you don't like the rape scene and the violence,
Well, we
right?
skipped that, so I don't care.
Okay, but typically you're not going to get only that.
Right.
I was just about to ask what rape scene, but then I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Marcellus Wallace.
Does he look like a bitch?
No,
We're
it's
off track here. Tangents.
it's true though. Women like to say why because they feel that they should be heard. They feel like you actually give a shit about what they're saying.
And that's what I'm telling Lonnie, that in your mind, in the process that you girls follow, it makes perfect and logical sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not my brain, though.
how-
I don't like to hear women talk, so...
This is why I believe that we shouldn't have a woman president.
This is my thing. Like, you should never go by what a woman says. You should go by what a woman does.
Well, that's the same for guys, too.
No, well, to a certain extent, yes. But
to an
in general, for the most part, you can be direct with a guy and you can get away with anything. But as far as, like, getting your message across.
Yeah, because you tell me your favorite color is black, I accept that. The conversation is over.
Until somebody asks why.
But then it's usually a simple answer, because I want all that guys are doing is that they're explaining with the important criteria of an answer. They're giving you a synopsis, and a woman is giving you a novel.
Well, I think women, they like to just be engaged in conversation because it's a really good quality time to spend with somebody is to talk with somebody. And when you give me an answer like black, because I like it.
Are you listening to this, Lonnie?
Unfortunately.
Your wife is telling you how you should communicate with her.
There's not enough hours in the day.
Oh, stop it. No, let's not get into this, okay? But I'm just saying, like, it just sounds like you're on, like, a game show or something.
Well, I do sound like a game show host, so...
See, but all I'm saying is that, guys make things so more complicated than they should with women, when in reality it's really simple. All you have to do is shut the fuck up, listen, and go by what she does, not necessarily what she says.
It's true, because women like talk a lot.
Yeah, and they talk a lot with their lack of...
Well, it's just like the traditional thing, like, hey, I'm gonna go out, and she's like, all right. And it's like, are you good with this? And she's like, yeah, sure. I mean, if you don't get that subtle hint that she's gonna be pissed off if you do it, then...
Okay, but this is my problem with it, is that everything is a test.
No.
Not everything's a test, Lonnie.
It makes it feel like
if a woman gives you that short of answers, you should know she's totally not okay with it.
But that's a test. That's what I'm talking about.
A woman will only test you if she feels that you are not
Meeting my end of the bargain.
kind of, if you're not being, I was gonna say if you're being like basically a pussy, she doesn't feel like she can be protected or trust you, then she's gonna test you.
So you're telling me for an animalistic instinct, women are going to make sure that you are an alpha male instead of a pussy?
Exactly.
I think my husband needs to work on that one.
Yeah, fuck both of you.
Listen to this message, Lonnie.
Anyway, but
I mean,
yes, I understand what it is. I just don't understand why.
but so let's go back to what the topic is
Ugh.
place to talk. So what does that mean now? Like if you already said, okay, I understand the process now. So if a woman comes in and says we need to talk, what does that tell you?
Oh, he's in trouble. That's what he thinks. He tells me all the time. Every single time I tell him we need to talk. Like, it doesn't matter in what way I tell him. He thinks he's in trouble.
Especially when they answer for me.
It's not. I was gonna say it's not that he thinks in trouble. It's that we need to talk. That should be your signal of like, okay, I'm being tested now.
But it's like a
Like,
Pavlovian response.
But to see that, how many times? Maybe 4 times out of 10 is it that he's in trouble. It's more like 6 times out of 10.
You mean 2 out of 5?
I just want to share my feelings with you and get some conversation out of you. More like.
I don't know when this podcast became a dating show. But
at what point did this podcast become
relationship advice?
So yeah, so to me, if my wife comes in and she says we need to talk, if she gives me that look, it doesn't. I mean, I don't automatically go like, oh shit, I fucked up. I go like, all right, this is a test, and she's there's obviously something wrong, or there's obviously something that I either miscommunicated or that I didn't do that. She's questioning I won't say my manhood, but I will say my ability to protect her or the ability for her to trust me.
See, this is one of those reasons why I call bullshit on that movie, What Women Want. Because not even men think in complete sentences.
It's beer.
Yeah, I mean, sleep, beer, pussy. Those are probably, like some of the very, very small amount of vocabulary that men actually think in their minds. Most of it's just pictures because we're all children. So
yeah, we're children with bigger toys. That's it.
Yeah.
So remember, like, it's so funny. Like beer now is like the equal to when you ate like a bunch of candy.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like going into a liquor store is like going into a candy store, or going into a tool, or a hardware store is like going into a candy store for me now.
Yeah. But we went off topic. Are we not? Where are we on the we need to talk?
Okay, on that, I will accept the fact that women speak a certain way that men should at least attempt to try to understand to a certain degree, to at least have a better relationship with someone who thinks differently than they do, which is where I think that the gays they probably got a good deal. They found the loophole. Actually, that's not true, because I've heard from gay men that it's actually not easier, because they take on the attributes, like it's just natural, but I don't know. I would say that, if I'm going to attempt to understand her way of thinking and her speech patterns, that it should be fair that she understand the simplicity of mine.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Women understand men more than men understand women, just by instinct.
But not all the time.
Not all the time.
Because
no.
it could be something as simple as I'm going to the store, and if I'm gone 5 minutes longer than I should have been, or at least what they think I should have been, it's automatically an issue.
No, that's a test. It's not an issue. It's a test.
Well, fuck tests.
But so at that point, if she says like, "Where were you?" You can always say like, "Yeah, I was with the other one."
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playful about it, then you kind of diffuse the test. You
I
don't.
guess.
I mean, I'm not saying don't give a shit and be an asshole, but I am saying
That's hard
that
for me. That's hard for me.
what they're trying to do in essence is keep you in check, keep your masculinity in check. Because the last thing a woman wants is to take the role of the man,
Yeah, I understand it. I do get the process, and I accept the fact that women are a completely different creature. I get that, and I accept it. I just don't agree with everything.
You don't have to. I mean, if she's happy, Mr. Happy's happy, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, do you want to be right or do you want to get laid?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I choose sex over fight anytime. Yeah.
Can I input on that one?
No, you can't input on that. She's asking to speak up. Now she thinks she's part of this. You see what happens? You see what happens? You give a mouse a cookie, they're going to want a glass of milk.
Punch him in the face now.
Okay, no. We're pretty much... I
just want to say something about that.
Okay, oh my god.
You can edit me out, I don't care.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Lonnie just got, like, his first real makeup sex not too long ago, so he's totally into it now.
See?
I concur.
You want to be right, or you want to get laid?
Well, buddy, I think we're right past the 2-hour mark.
All right, we'll call it a night.
I think it was a good one, this one.
It was fun. So, yeah, listeners, send your future questions to... What's our email address, Lonnie?
Our email address that you can send your questions to is nbtltpodcast@gmail.com, because we're too cheap to get a website at the moment. And you can always follow us on NBTLT Podcast on Twitter, or for all those people who are going to, murder me for not putting the @ before our name. And I think for now, that's pretty much all the media that we have at the moment. You can always get us on iTunes. Yep. I don't think we're on the Google store or anything like that, or the Amazon store, just on iTunes, because we don't give a shit about Android. Because only pussies use Android, or people that get their heads blown off by exploding phones. But yeah.
That's the new suicide bombers thing. They just grab a bunch of Galaxy Note 7.
Just strap them up. I'd leave them alone.
Oh man, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
All right, people, we love you. Take care.
I don't love you. Fuck off, and see you next week.